Hey Ringside Crew. Welcome to the internationally known Dudes at Ringside Podcast. And now here's your host, Joe Panther III.
Hello there, wrestling fans, to another episode of the internationally known Dudes at Ringside Podcast. I am Joe Panther III, and Ringside Crew, once again, I'm adding another awesome wrestler from the Sunshine State of Florida. He wrestles at a promotion that you will probably see me interview people from before, the likes of Bella Snow and so many much more that have come from this awesome school that's in Florida, everybody. So let's give a warm Dudes at Ringside podcast to my guest, Raylan. Welcome to Dudes at Ringside. Welcome.
Thank you, brother. I'm glad. I'm really excited for you having me on, man. We've been talking about this for a little bit.
Yeah.
Finally came true.
Yes. So if my internationally known audience, the people from the UK, the colonies that I've told you about before, if they are not familiar with you, and also people from the New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania area, they're not familiar with you, introduce yourself.
Well, everybody out there, I am the Supreme Outlaw, Raylan Bennett, from the great state of Texas, Dallas, Texas. I've been in the business for a little while, going on 3 years in May. I've lived in Florida for about 4 years and can tell you I love every minute of it. And this wrestling business, this crazy, wonderful business has been just amazing to me so far. And I hope to continue to make memories with it.
Awesome, Raylan. So, who are some of your inspirations to join this big world of professional wrestling?
I got a lot of inspirations, but the main three, I would say, Undertaker, of course, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and John Cena.
Ooh. Now, how do you feel about this new John Cena? What do you think about him?
For me, I'm 22 years old, so I've seen John Cena as a babyface just about my whole life. But now him being a heel, I think it's a great change. And, everybody's so used to the John Cena coming out, shaking hands, kissing babies. But now him able to rip into the crowd, it's a whole new dynamic, and it's amazing in my point of view. I love to see it.
Yes. And you said Undertaker. I'm 41, so I have so many fond memories of the Undertaker back in the day with the pallbearers, with the urns, and I know there's down the internet and there's peacocks. Have you gone back and watched those glory days Undertaker matches that people watch and go, wow, watch this match?
Yeah, I started watching Undertaker in 2007 when I was 4. So I do have the first time I ever watched wrestling was Undertaker versus Batista, them building up until WrestleMania 23. And I've watched him ever since then. But yeah, I've gone back and watched all the previous matches. I'm a wrestling fanatic and I'm a wrestling historian. So I like to try to go back and learn as much as I can. But when it comes to Undertaker, I've watched, I want to say, just about every match. And like you said, I've gone back to the glory days and I was there when it got rough towards the end. But Undertaker's going to always be my GOAT regardless.
I actually just finished watching the second coffin match against Yokozuna. Did you watch that one yet?
Yes, sir. I've watched that one probably. I've definitely watched it more than the first time because he actually wins this time. But
yeah, I was furious. I forgot how mad I was as a kid watching the first one with Yoko. I was like,
yeah, he was so close to winning, and they made it so good because Yoko being 500, 600 pounds, and Undertaker being, even though he was almost a foot taller than him, he had to work up as a small guy, if you think about it, and they make it so good.
Yeah, that's the thing about Yoko. I remember hearing that the pump up for when Luger slammed him at the Intrepid, they said that it wasn't Luger that slammed him. It was just Yoko just used all that momentum to flip himself over.
Yeah.
And we know when they did the face-to-face in the ring, this is going to break the fourth wall of everything with wrestling, and wrestling. Did you know when they did that face-to-face in the ring on the Intrepid? He literally said, I got this, brother. I got this. And
I
then,
did not.
and then I'm going to have to watch it because that's what Luger said he said. I was like, no, I don't believe that. Nah. He didn't do that. No. Like, no, but yeah.
But you gotta think about it. A guy that big, if he doesn't want to move, you're not even moving him.
Yeah. And that was a contest too. Like they had people coming out. I guess I looked for it on Peacock. I can't find the actual tournament. They didn't have it. I was like, was it not on like a channel that they have connected to it? Like I would have, if they were smart back in the day, NBC should have sponsored it. Like had it on NBC because you see now if WWE did that,
Yeah.
WWE did that, it would have been on NBC or being on like Peacock or but on live on Peacock, Slam, whoever was the biggest fat guy there. But like let's go back. When you first decided to get into the wrestling business, like was it hard to find a school? Did you find the school you go to immediately? Like what were the thoughts?
Funny story about that. When I was looking for a wrestling school, I was actually in college at the time. I was studying for human and health performance. And this is about to tell how bad of a student I was at the time because instead of doing my work in class and listening to my professor doing his lecture, I'm in there on my laptop looking up wrestling schools. What's the closest one to me in Orlando? And there were 3D came up, the Wild Samoans, which that's all the way up north, and there was a bunch of other schools, but it was crazy. The school I decided to go to was right down the street from the college I was going to. So it was like, hey, I'm going to go there once I get out of school, check it out, see what it's like. And I don't regret it. Went there immediately after school, and it's been a wild ride ever since.
So when you first stepped through the doors of the school, like, did you feel like this was home, or did it take you a few practices to make it feel like you were there? Like you were. I know a lot of places you go through the doors, they kind of look you as the newbie, but did you feel like you're a family immediately with this school?
Oh no, I was definitely intimidated. The first time I walked through the door, I could hear the bumping of people as I'm walking up the door, and you hear it's bang, bang, bang. I was like, I don't know if it's for me, but when I walked in, the first two people I saw, Kenny Vendetta and Tony Harrow, or Tone Felix, really. He goes by both names, but those were the first two guys I saw. And I watched them for about 30 minutes just work with each other. And them working with each other was just, seeing that right there was intimidating within itself. And I'm talking about me. I played football since I was 4. I've done track, I've done wrestling, I've done just about every sport I can do.
Wow.
And me seeing that, it was like, all right, this is a whole new ball game. This is a totally different challenge. But once I started stepping in the ring, I would say within a week or two, I was kind of like, I'm getting the hang of this.
Yeah. So let's go a little further in. What was your energy like the first time you stepped through the curtains for your first match?
The first time I stepped through the curtains for my first match, everybody in the back was like, just when you step through, take a deep breath, relax, you'll feel the energy from the crowd, and that's what will carry you through. What carried me through was the grace of God. I was so nervous when I was out there that first match to make sure I didn't hurt anybody, hurt myself, make myself look stupid or anybody else look stupid. It was just a nervousness I have never felt before because all eyes are on you. And me being that, I know that was my debut match, but I think other people were debuting with me. So I had to make sure not only did I make myself look good, I need to make sure I look better than other people that are debuting because I don't want to be looked at as that's the weak link. So that day was nervous. It was competitive. It was everything I could, all the emotions were running through me that day.
Did you eventually get like an outfit set for your persona, or was it always the cowboy? I didn't say you're from Texas, because most Texas boys, not saying all Texas guys, okay, you got to get the podium up. I apologize to Texas, making it sound like all Texas guys wear the cowboy hat. But was it always the cowboy hat and the whole vest and everything, or did you have another idea? Where did the whole persona come from?
Well, at first, I wasn't sure on who I wanted to be, because you see everybody on TV, on the internet, portray themselves, as something else. So I wasn't sure on what I should do. I was a little confused. But then you sit down, you write out your ideas, you listen to the vets tell you, like, hey, a lot of the most successful gimmicks in this business is who you are times 10. And I thought to myself, I'm a country dude at heart, born in Texas, lived in Georgia most of my life, and now I'm down here. When you hear me talk, you don't hear a city accent, you hear a country twang, and that's all I'm gonna ever be. So I was not gonna change that for anybody. So I realized, I sat down one day, I like boots, I like cowboy hats, I like jeans. That's always been me. So it came up one day. I was talking to one of the guys, and they said, well, you're wrestling in jeans. You don't have any gear yet. Why don't you stick with the jeans? You can kind of stick out for a while. So stuck with the jeans. Then one day I went to the store getting a new belt, and I was like, well, since I'm here, let me get a new belt buckle. And then the jeans with the belt buckle, and then I got some working boots, and just over time it just morphed together. And everywhere I go, when I go to a show, they see the cowboy hat, they automatically know it's either the outlaw from the adults, but the kids run up to me and say, you're the cowboy, aren't you? And that's just been me for the past 3 years. The vest, it was an idea that I tried for a little while. I do it every once in a while, but it was just, a lot of guys have something on their entrance. The hat is one thing. I wanted to add something else, just set myself aside, apart from people. So I added the vest one day, and I liked it, and I do it every once in a while. But I went to a couple of shows, and they said, hey, you have a body, so you might want to show it off from the time you walk out to the time you walk, through and through. So the vest makes an appearance every once in a while.
Yeah, like I saw the picture of you with the cowboy hat and the vest, and I was just like, that works. That works. Like, I notice a lot of the parts, like there's a lot of people that like to be the bad guy. You say outlaw. So do you like being the heel, or do you like, like, some people like being a heel, some people like being a face? Which one do you prefer?
Well, what's surprising? The outlaw just turned heel back in November. I worked babyface for 2.5 years, and I just turned heel. And I'm now just getting the people to actually like boo me and kind of hate me. So I still go some places and they're still cheering, but like the outlaw, I always have to explain it. It's funny. People hear the name outlaw and they automatically go, oh, you want to be the badass, you want to be the bad guy. Naturally, I've always kind of been a rebel. That's just me. You might say, hey, we're going to do this, but I'm going to do it this way. We'll eventually get to what you want, but I'm going to do it my way, and we'll get to where we need to get to. That's just always been my way. I've always had a thought process. And the outlaw isn't just about being bad. It's more so a lifestyle. Like, hey, I'm tough. I'm rugged. I'm going to stand up for what I believe in. What either you think it's wrong, or hey, I might know it's wrong, but I know in the long run it's going to prove something for me. It's just, the outlaw is more of a lifestyle. It's not just a name,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to like the week of a show, do you have to prepare differently than others?
Um, it depends on the show. It depends on the match, the circumstances. Like if I'm depending on who I'm going to work in. If I'm going to work 250-pound plus guy, I'm carbing up. I'm throwing heavy weights up the whole week. The whole time. Like, all right, I know I'm going to work in with a big dude. I need to get my strength up. I need to, look like I can go in there and move this guy when it's called for. But say if I'm going to work against somebody like Poppy D, who is an athlete amongst athletes. He is just a cardio machine. I am high intensity workouts the whole time I'm preparing for somebody like him. So I can go in there and my wind is with me. He and I have done so many 30-minute matches. Crazy story. Last June 1st, he and I had a title unification match. I was the Florida Cruiserweight champion. He was the Florida Heavyweight champion. We wrestled for damn near an hour. We went, I think, just over 50 minutes. Wow. And got to the back and didn't realize we went 50 minutes. So it just depends on who I'm wrestling. Now, if I'm wrestling in a no DQ match, I'm carving up the whole bit because I'm going to want some cushion on my body when I get hit with a chair or something. Oof. So it just depends on the match, but I always love the preparing of it.
So what is that food that you have to eat to carve yourself up? I'm a big junk food, like those big French fries that they eat on the East Coast with all the the fixins. Like in the South they put the gravy on the fries. Well, I don't know if they have this in Florida, or maybe in Texas they would have the chili cheese fries. But where I live, they the disco fries, the cheese and the gravy. Like, what is your cheat food that like gets you carved up?
So if I'm carving up, I'm gonna do pin pasta with some chicken breast, just so I can have some little lean meat in there. But I'm gonna do what's it called? So there's called Jesus, I can't think of the name. It's smoked sausage. There we go.
Ooh.
And I'm gonna cook that together, and sometimes I put some Alfredo sauce on it. But the pasta is what's really gonna give me all the carbs and stuff. And then I'll eat a lot of bread. But the real cheat meal is when I go to McDonald's, Zaxby's, or Burger King or Wendy's. That's the real cheat meals right there.
Okay. Zaxby's is that chicken place, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you know I went to the Carolinas and my friend told me about it, and my mom and dad have never eaten there. My dad's a typical Brooklyn boy that says, do you know anybody that's been there? And I'm like, have. And we were leaving the Carolinas. We had that for lunch before we left, and my dad's like, wow, first time you picked somewhere, Randy, that it wasn't trash. And I was like, thanks, Dad. I feel so bad. Like, yeah. Yeah. You said you said you have your work boots. There's the legends that wear like the cowboy boots in the ring. Like, have you ever thought of trying to find a company that can make regular like wrestling boots into cowboy boots?
I actually have. There's been a couple of guys who have suggested that to me. There's a guy named Brian Brock, if you've heard of him. Big dude. He's a worker right there. But his boots kind of look like Dusty Rhodes boots. And I want something that kind of looks like that because they just look amazing. But the working boots I have, I don't know if they kind of look like steel toe boots, but the steel, of course. But I would wrestle in those, and the weight, I never realized the weight difference into them until I went to wrestling boots, and I could jump a lot higher when I got out of those.
Yeah, it's like wearing bricks on your feet when it comes to steel. You're like, what?
Yeah, and I never realized how heavy they were until like one day, like I decided to make the switch, and like when I decided to go from jeans to tights. So it was like, all right, of course, if I'm gonna go from jeans to tights, I need to change the footwear too. So I went to boots, and I decided to do a drop kick one day, and I was like, oh, that's a whole lot easier.
When you drop kick your opponent and you don't realize, it's like a TikTok. when you drop kick your opponent, you don't realize your boots are heavier than you, and you launch your opponent across the ring like a Kermit the Frog doll.
Exactly. When I switched from the working boots to my wrestling boots, it almost got me in trouble because every once in a while, like the over the top rope dive that like Undertaker, Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns do.
Yeah.
I do that every once in a while in like big matches where it's like, hey, this is a big match. We're going to give the people what they came to see.
Yeah.
I do it occasionally. January 25th, I did it. And this was the first time I wrestled in my wrestling boots and some tights. So I was a lot lighter. I didn't realize it. And you could swear I was Michael Jordan that day. I just flew and flew and flew. And then I flew over the guy just a little bit, and he tried his best to catch me, but I went headfirst in the concrete. And I was like, immediately I said, yeah, that's going to be retired for a little while. Let me retire that. And I've done that for going on 2 years. And that was the first time I had a bad landing.
Oh my gosh. That's horrible. Did you have to like tell the rep to stop the match, or did you recover yourself to keep the match going, or was that just a practice?
That was a match. The ref asked that I want to stop, but what's it called? I told him no. I don't remember most of the end of that match, but watching it, you can definitely tell I was on muscle memory, and I finished through. But if I was somebody else, I probably would have said, "Hey, stop the match." But I'm so hard-headed. It was no way I was gonna stop that match. It was too good to say, "Hey, let's stop it here." We finished the rest of that match. It had to be done.
Yeah. There's no way you stop that match. You keep it going. It's like, would have Dusty Rhodes would have stopped the match if he was bleeding until you couldn't see his whites of his eyes anymore? No.
Exactly.
You watch WrestleMania 20 when it was Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and that other guy. I can't say the name because a lot of bad stuff will happen.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels was bleeding so bad that it looked like a stuffed pig. You couldn't. All you could see is the pupils of the whites of Shawn Michaels' eyes when he super kicks that guy. That I can't say his name once again. Oh Jesus! YouTube's gonna go flag. But yeah, you can't wrestling. People think that wrestling. They have to stop the match. No, some promoters are backstage going, no. He can make it. He can make it.
That was totally my call to do I want to finish, because the guy that was posted, or the two guys that were supposed to be there to catch me that kind of flew over, they both asked like, "Hey, are you okay? Do you want us to like tell the ref like let's stop it?" And I was like, "No." Then they pulled the ref over. He said, "Hey, do you want me to stop it?" No. Then my opponent, the amazing Bella Snow, she kind of broke a little bit, and just to make sure, that just goes to show you how safe of a worker she is. She says, "Hey, are you okay?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "Do you want to go home or do you want to just stop it?" And I said, "No, let's finish this thing. Let's get it done." And we finished it.
Yeah. As you know, Bella Snow's been on this podcast multiple times, and she's technically part of the Ringside Crew family. Like, you guys, your school has embraced me so well, and Bella's mom, shout out to Mama Snow, be the bomb. She always helps me out. She always keeps me happy. She always tells me how awesome I am. I'm like, thank you. I don't want to sound cocky, but thank you.
No, but they're great people. They really are.
Yeah. And she also laughs because like, you're Puerto Rican. Of course we're gonna embrace you, Joe. And I'm like,
hey, they brought me into their family, and they're for the 2 or 3 years I've known them, they have been nothing but amazing. Just lovely, lovely people.
That's what you gotta have in this wrestling world. You gotta have a family. You can't be like, "Oh, we're part of this team." No, everybody has to be a group. Like, it's just it's a family.
That's if you don't have that support system, it's so hard. It really is.
Yeah. So, if since I'm a local podcaster in the Poconos, and there's tons of places I always like to give shouts out on the show. Like, I always talk about Ben's Fresh, or my favorite coffee place that's in Port Jervis, or in Milford. But where's that place by you in Florida, or even or you're from Texas that you like to go to when you want to get a bite to eat or get a cup of coffee?
For me, here in Florida, oof, there's so many places. I almost want to say Bella's house because she's a great cook.
Mama Snows can be like, no.
For me, when I want to go get a bite to eat, it's either going to be, there's this Spanish market down the street from me. It's called Unidos. They're amazing. They have the pernil, the rice, the beans. They have everything in there. It's just always good. Like it feels like it's homemade. But usually, if I don't want to go down there, I'm going to Zaxby's.
Awesome. Before we go, if any of my fans want to pick up any merch, anything of yours, where can they find it?
I don't have any merch out right now, but I am coming up with some. They should be able to find it on I can't think of the name. I'm going blank. Spotify? Pro Wrestling Tees.
Pro Wrestling. I thought you just said song, and I was like, he's gonna have it on Spotify. The song. I was no, you're a cowboy. You know how to play guitar. You could have a song on Spotify. Your theme song could be on Spotify. You know.
No, I'm coming out with some t-shirts and hats soon on Pro Wrestling Tees. I have the designs right now. I just need to put them on some shirts and put them out there for everybody to get.
Awesome. If there was any kids that like I'll say like 18 to 19-year-olds that wanted to get in the wrestling business, what kind of advice would you have for them?
I would tell them it's not always the physical game that you're coming in with, because a lot of people think they just need to be big and strong. It's a mental game. You have to be mentally strong and spiritually strong, because you're going to have your days where you're just feeling so defeated. You're just going to feel tested by everything. You need to come in and be mentally strong and prepared for the journey that this business is going to take you on, because in the long run, it's worth it. It really is. I have had my days where I'm like, this is tough, but I always look back at it and I'm saying, I'm glad I went through that day because it taught me a lesson.
Awesome. I want to thank you so much for coming on Dudes at Ringside. It was an honor. Please tell more of your friends from Pro Wrestling, your dojo, about Dudes at Ringside, because probably 90% of them already know, because the girls are like, Dudes at Ringside. And your mom's like, you all better be on Dudes at Ringside or something's going to go bad. Just kidding. I don't think Mama's saying it. But she'd be like, no, you got to go on Dudes at Ringside.
No, thank you for having me, man. I hope I can come back on again. I really
dude. We could do the week. His I'm not gonna say the guy's name because he's in jail right now. We could do this all day. But thank you so much for coming on Dudes at Ringside. I'm Joe Panther III.
And this is Raylan Bennett.
And we will catch you in the next one.
See you.